And welcome to the podcast, guys, with Rob and Nando. Tonight is a very special night. As you can see, we have two awesome gentlemen behind us. Right before we get to them, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, the podcast guys on YouTube. We are on Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, the podcast guys _, Facebook, Spotify, the podcast guys, and of course you can find us on X, the podcast guys 5. So don't forget to make sure you support your boys, because we are here, and we are here with two awesome guys that you guys are just about going to get to know in a second. So why don't we go ahead and throw it to our first guest. Welcome to the show, SB Dating.
Let's go. I appreciate y'all for having me on. So, name's SB Dating. You guys can follow me on Instagram at sbdating._, TikTok as well. I help men get out of their heads, build confidence with women, and overall just have an amazing dating life. That's what I do, fellas.
Awesome. And back on the show again, I think this time for the 6th time. Number 6, Czar of Dating. Go ahead and introduce yourself. For those that should know but probably don't know, why don't you go ahead and break it down for us?
For you guys that have been living under a fucking rock and haven't been tuning into any of the podcasts with the free game that we continue giving you, which most of you don't fucking deserve in my eyes, but you're lucky we're being nice enough to give you more free game tonight. I am the Czar of Dating, CZAR of Dating. You can find me on Instagram, Shit Talk as I like to call it, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook as well, where I post dating content. I post the beautiful language of women. We have our own podcast with the Texting Prince called the Full Armor of Game Dating Podcast to help you guys protect yourselves against women out there. And we also teach you that real certified G game. So shout out to the Texting Prince. You guys can grab my free ebook as well, The Dark Psychology of Women. SB Dating, I want to welcome you as well. One of the realest in the games, one of the few dating coaches I follow, because I only follow the real ones, and he happens to be the real one. So I love having you on here, man. I know it's going to be a great podcast. He also has a free ebook coming out as well for you guys. The biggest texting mistakes that men make. He's a master at the texting game. And as you guys should all know, you have to encompass everything with women in today's society.
Everything.
You have to be three-dimensional. You have to be three-dimensional with how competitive it is out there, especially with all these beautiful women you see on social media. You have to encompass every little detail, fellas, including your messaging game.
The more you give yourself, the more tools that you have. At the end of the day, fellas, the world is yours. You take advantage of that, build up your skill set, and just overall attract those women that you were meant to get. Let's do it.
Awesome stuff. SB Dating here for his first podcast ever, so we are grateful to have you on. Czar, as always a pleasure. Shout out to Texting Prince. Make sure you guys follow him. And without further ado, Rob, what is the first topic that we're going to dive right into?
All right, so first topic of the night, we're going to get into red flags. What are some red flags that men should watch out for when dating? What type of women should men avoid? Let's get into it. Sarah, what do you think? What are some red flags you watch out for?
So, most women display their red flags physically. We all know that. But most women also don't display their red flags. So you have to be a good listener. You have to be very attentive to the information they give you. But first, let's start with the physical. What red flags do women have with their physical appearance? Bright colored hair. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but anything in the wild that has bright colors, what does that tell you? It screams toxic. Stay away from me. I might hurt you. I might kill you. Humans are no different. Humans are no fucking different. When a woman wants to display that she's toxic, she's filled with drama, She has all these types of issues. She's going to be a bat out of Haiti in your life. She will dye her hair a bright color. I'm talking about bright blue, bright yellow, bright green, bright pink, and any other unnatural hair color that you can think of. So that is a woman's physical appearance that is screaming out red flag. And to all the ladies, I already know what you're going to say to combat with what I'm telling you guys. Oh, if a guy has spiky gelled hair, that is also a red flag, because I know how predictable and unoriginal most of you people are. And I will continue having spiky hair, and I'm glad you noticed, because that's exactly the look that I will be going for every time you see my ugly face.
Amen.
Well, that's the thing with women. They like to come back and attack with ad hominems, which is, there's no reason to do that. Like, understand what your red flag is and work to fix it. I mean, come on, hair color. That's like giving a man an alert sign like, hey, don't date me, don't talk to me, because I'm going to be a problem in your life.
Absolutely. It's like, quacks like a duck. It's a duck at the end of the day. But overall, right, it's why are you putting yourself in those boxes, like a guy like Czar or a guy like anybody really is going and they can visibly see what's going on. You don't want to do that to yourself. So absolutely correct on that.
Awesome.
And what would you say your red flag is, SB?
Yeah, so when I'm thinking of red flags, the first thing that pops up for me, right, is that for sale sign up 24/7? Is she always looking for that attention, right? When you go out with a woman, is she locked in and focused on yourself, or are you always feeling like there's other guys that are taking the spotlight in her head, right? Because at the end of the day, if you aren't feeling like that is your spot, then it's somebody else's to take. What do you think?
I agree with you. If a woman needs sexual validation and attention 24/7, and you know this by her social media, every single picture, every single video is something provocative, her showing off her fleshy goodness. This woman needs sexual attention and validation every single day, especially if they're still in a relationship with a guy. And you guys allow this, where you let your woman post her fleshy goodness all over social media for the world to see. Her attention, the attention that she gets, is more valuable than the relationship she has with you, because she doesn't give a fuck about you. When a woman truly cares about a guy she's in a relationship with, she's not going to put herself out there like that by posting provocative pictures. She's not going to put the for sale sign back up because she has respect for you. She thinks about the relationship as a whole. But there's going to be women that are going to have their asinine reasons for why they do it, and that they're still in a loving relationship. It has nothing to do with that. Okay, sweetie, whatever you say. But to the normal people out there that have loving relationships, you do not post provocative pictures and disrespect your man like that, ever. And that's the same with you guys. You don't follow random Instagram models on social media who are posting provocative pictures. If I'm in a relationship with a woman and I truly love her, I'm not going to disrespect her by, number one, praising another woman on social media or in life in general, because I'm only praising her. Number two, I'm not going to like or follow a woman who posts provocative pictures. To me, that's disrespectful. And let me put you guys on some free game right now, because I've heard women tell me this. Anytime a woman follows you or you follow her on social media, one of the first things she's going to do is look to see who you follow. If she sees a bunch of naked Instagram models that you're following, what does that tell you? You have no self-discipline. You're thirsty, you're needy, you get no women, obviously. So why would this girl want to fuck with you? Women have told me the reason why I like you, Czar, it's because you're very selective with who you follow. You don't just follow a bunch of random women who show off their asses, who show off their tits. That takes discipline, because my attention has value. Just because you're showing your tits and your ass on social media doesn't mean you're going to get a follow from me. Doesn't mean you're going to get a like from me, especially if I'm in a relationship. And no woman should ever praise another man when she's in a relationship. To me, that's one of my boundaries. The only man you should ever praise and you should be cheering for and supporting is me. Your man is the only man you should be supporting and praising if you're in a relationship with him. That means you don't follow any one of your celebrity crushes. You don't comment on any other guy's pictures or videos praising him for what he did, congratulating him. To me, that's disrespectful.
100%. What do you guys think about women that work in nightlife? Would you ever date a bartender, a bottle girl, any girl that works in clubs, lounges, things like that? What are your thoughts on that?
You got to be careful with that, man, because I would say, especially like bottle girls, right? You got to think of that field, right? It's a high, there's guys coming in and out of there. She's probably friendly with a bunch of different guys in that life. And what does that life really bring, right? You're getting a bunch of opportunities. It's a bunch of, promoter type of guys. It's just overall, it's just not an environment that you should look at and be like, yeah, that's where I want my woman to come from, okay? Personally, I feel like in a bartender sense, like I would much rather a girl be a bartender as opposed to like a bottle girl. And another thing that you guys don't understand is, and I actually had a client that was going through this issue, is some girls that work in those fields, like they will give you that attention at the thinking that they're gonna gain you financially as well. You know what I mean? Like, oh, come through, come bring your boys, come over to this section. You guys are kind of at times being played for your dollar signs, and you're not even realizing it. What do you think, Czar?
And another thing. Think about all the ballers they run into. Think about all the men that these women run into when they're bartending, when they're bottle service girls, when they're working at a nightclub. Do you think your girl is going to remain loyal to you? Oh, but I trust her, the beta male voice. But Czar, I trust my girl. I know she's a bartender. Bro, she meets hundreds of guys who are trying to game her, who are trying to hit on her. You don't know. All it takes is a guy like me, a guy like SB Dating who has game, and she won't even mention your fucking name. She won't even say she has a boyfriend. You do not date women that are models, that are actresses, or that are bartenders or work in some type of a nightclub, because they rub shoulders with a lot of men. They meet a lot of men, fellas. A lot. And a good quality feminine woman, she won't put herself in those environments. I know these women have a high body count. The actresses, the IG models, the bartenders, most of them have a very high body count. Recreational use only.
Absolutely, absolutely. How about the guys that are in that position where their woman is working in nightlife and they don't want to deal with her working in nightlife? How do they get that to stop? Is there any way that he can get her out of it? He can put himself out of that position. What's the best way for a man to carry himself in that situation?
That's a damn good question. I mean, you got to ask yourself this question is, did you know about that when you met her, right? Because I feel like a lot of times if you're actually like when there's a woman and you got to think where you met her. And you got to think where she's already at. It's going to be hard for you to take her out of that.
So you should have known beforehand, hey, this woman is in nightlife. I should not date her. Let me not even try.
Yeah, you should have established from the beginning that that's something you probably wouldn't want to get involved with, right? But in a scenario where, let's say, you are trying to manage that, right? It's like, okay, my girl is in this sort of field. Well, you have to kind of set those boundaries. You gotta pay close watch, because that's an environment that's going to be friendly to a lot of opportunities on her sake. So you hopefully got a good one in there. Yeah,
she's going to be experimenting because she's going to have the temptation to experiment because of all the opportunities that she's getting.
And it's usually young girls that want to be bartenders, that want to be around in this nightlife, work at a club, work at some tavern or bar. It's usually mostly young girls, which I don't advise you guys get in relationships with regardless, because those are their peak years. They're looking for as much sexual attention as possible. That's why you don't get into relationships with girls that are younger than, let's say, 25, because 25 is the average age when a woman naturally matures. Nowadays, I don't even know if it's 25. It could be 40 in today's society. But I would prefer dating a girl who's 25 years old and older, and a girl who has purpose, who has passion, and who's giving back in some way. And by giving back, I don't mean pouring a man an alcoholic drink and flirting with them. Okay? But one of my other biggest red flags, talking about physical appearance, tattoos.
Oh, yeah.
We all know certain tattoos are big red flags on a woman. And I know I'm going to get so much hate from women, especially the ones that follow me when I mention these specific tattoos. The biggest red flag that I have ever seen in my life is if a woman has a butterfly tattoo. The butterfly tattoo is the mark of the beast. You know how the Bible mentions the mark of the beast? That is the butterfly tattoo. For some reason, anytime I have ever met a woman with a butterfly tattoo, she has the demon of lust inside of her. I don't know why. Most of these girls are free-spirited, and by free-spirited, I mean they're hovering within a 5-mile radius and landing on the nearest cock. That's what I mean by free-spirited, and when a girl tells you she's free-spirited. And if you guys don't believe me that butterfly tattoos, skull tattoos, feathers, dream catchers are a red flag, next time you guys are on Pornhub touching your little inky winky, tell me what tattoos most of these porn stars have, or girls that have an OnlyFans. And then prove to me that I'm wrong. Because I will guarantee you, back in my formative years when I was on the hub, nearly every single porn star or a woman in the adult film had some type of butterfly tattoo, had some type of dream catcher tattoo, had some type of demonic tattoo, skulls, snakes, upside down crosses. What does that tell you guys? You guys got to start noticing patterns. And I'm not saying it's all women. Some women can have a butterfly tattoo and not be in HOE and not be a thought. But do not ever get into a relationship with a woman who has a butterfly tattoo. Take it from my experience, fellas, and for me being a master at noticing patterns. Okay? And another red flag with tattoos, thigh tattoos. When have thigh tattoos become the new tramp stamp? And I'm calling it right now. In a couple years from now, the thigh tattoo will be known as the new tramp stamp. And all you ladies will regret getting thigh tattoos. Here's my reasoning for why thigh tattoos are a big red flag. Anytime a woman gets a thigh tattoo, every single piece of clothing she wears now has to show off that thigh tattoo, that fleshy goodness. Wintertime, you could be in Siberia in the coldest part of fucking Russia. Nope, she's got to wear the short shorts. Thigh tattoo has to be showing. Booty shorts riding up her ass, thigh tattoo has to be showing. Gym, anywhere she goes. And another thing, why would you want a woman who's comfortable with a man touching her erogenous zones, her thighs, comfortably like that while getting a thigh tattoo?
For hours.
Oh, but he's a good friend. I know. Oh, I got a woman to do it. Whatever. Why would you ever feel comfortable dating a girl who is comfortable with a stranger touching her in any one of those erogenous zones, especially in between her chest, her thighs, even her ass? If she has an ass tattoo and you still want to be in a relationship with her, I have no mercy on you. I really don't at this point.
Sometimes they even go down south, very, very private areas. So, I mean, that's just ridiculous in my book.
Look, I would even throw piercings into this. And I'm not talking about just like a couple piercings on here, like the ones that have a thing in their nose or they have like their like eyelids pierced. Like if there's a lot of piercings, those type of women are usually like borderline personality disorder type.
Yeah.
And they like trauma.
They like
love that trauma. What is it called? They have that kink where during sex they love to be abused. What's that kink? Dominatrix or
Dominatrix, yeah.
Dominatrix.
S&M or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes they even have their nipples pierced. They have other areas pierced I won't get into, but how about you, SB? What are you and tattoos? What kind of tattoos do you like, don't like? Are you totally against it? What's your take?
I think the area counts, right? I think Czar mentioned, like, you're talking about certain zones. It's got to be a red flag, especially since always going to be trying to show it off. Like you said, he's talking gym, booty shorts here, there. Honestly, I think overall the tattoos in the certain locations is what you got to look out for, right? And Rob mentioned a bit like the septum piercing. It's just like at a certain point, ladies, like you have to, and maybe you're not thinking of this, but at certain times, like there's certain things we look at and we're like, you know what? I don't know about that one. And that's just one of them.
So you would consider these a turnoff for men, per se?
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Yeah, just one of many at the end of the day. And like I said, ladies, you might not be looking at it that way, but at the end of the day, obviously you're in the game just as much as we are. You're trying to attract as many men as you want, some quality men, and you're just not really doing yourself some favors with a lot of this stuff.
I'm going to throw one more in before we move on to the next topic. I see this everywhere now. Why are so many women getting like the lip injections, Botox? What are your thoughts on that? Is that a red flag to you if they overdo with the surgery?
That's a good one. So most of these women that get these enhancements, lip injections, boob enhancements, BBLs, the fake asses, they want sexual attention from men. That's why these women do it. I don't care what else they tell you. And most of these women are ran through that get these type of surgeries, these enhancements. And there's nothing more unattractive than a woman getting lip injections where you look like you blew a beehive. You ladies have to stop getting these lip injections. It comes to a certain point where enough is enough, okay? Especially with the BBLs. There's nothing more I find attractive than a natural woman who's got that booty, that gat, that culo. You know what I'm talking about, guys. The girl that worked hard for that shit. Shout out to my Latinas, the sexy Latinas. Most of you women, and this is why I love Latinas, because they have that perfect hip-to-waist ratio. And that's why they're so attractive. But if you can tell that a girl got BBLs or she has ass injections, it's so unattractive. Because it just shows laziness, a lack of discipline, and she loves that sexual attention from all these men. Why would you want to be with a woman like that?
Yeah. Ladies, I think overall, like, natural beauty is the way to go, 100%. So many of us guys, first of all, it's very obvious a lot of the time, but aside from just being obvious, like, just go with your natural beauty. Not all of us are going to, be perfect 24/7, age, this, that, but you're just way better off because when you're getting even older and you have these, like, injections or BBLs or whatever the case is, it just doesn't look good.
That's a sad thing nowadays. It seems like many women out there are losing their natural physical attributes where they get some sort of enhancement, BBL, breast enhancements, face, Botox, all these things. They're getting some sort of adjustment somehow in their body somewhere where they're losing it, and it shouldn't be that way. Natural is better. Getting it from two dating experts right here. Guys want natural, and that's what we're looking for in general.
And that's why I think Brazilians are some of the most attractive women in the world. I know there's guys that say Colombians are. I'm going to say Brazilians are some of the most attractive women I've ever seen from anywhere else in the world and that I've ever dated. Because most of the ones I date have that natural beauty. They have those beautiful thick legs. They have a nice body, that perfect waist to hip ratio, and their personalities. They're fun to be around. Maybe Colombians are beautiful. I don't know. But I'd pick Brazilians over Colombians any day of the week. And another big red flag, before I forget this. If a woman doesn't want to take your last name when you guys get married, if she has any ounce of doubt of keeping your last name, do not marry that fucking woman. You will fucking regret it. And the divorce is coming. If it doesn't come, the disrespect is going to be endless. Because I'll tell you something right now, no matter what reason a woman has for not taking your last name when you get married, if she married someone like Brad Pitt or Tom Hardy or Johnny Depp or even someone like the Czar, she wouldn't think twice about keeping her last name. She would be happy to take your last name because she adores you. She looks up to you. She has reverence for you. It doesn't cross her mind to not want to take your last name. And a lot of you guys overlook that. But that is one of the most disrespectful thing a woman can ever do is refuse to take your last name as a man because your last name has to last generations to come. And if your woman robs you of that for whatever bullshit reason she has, oh, because of my degree, oh, because of my this, because, listen, all that shit goes out the fucking window when a woman views you as the prize. That's why it's so important for a woman to view you as the prize, where she doesn't question taking your fucking last name. Even if your last name was Pencil Dick or Little Wiener, she would still take your fucking last name, guys.
How about you, SB? What are your thoughts on a woman not committing to your name?
Yeah, you got to look at it from the standpoint, ladies, like, do you know how important that is for us? We want to build, provide, have this family, and you don't even want to take over the last name. At the end of the day, like Czar put it best, if your name was Brad Pitt or if you're somebody famous, you probably wouldn't have a problem doing it. So at the end of the day, it's more a case of, is that woman actually committed? You know, you got to take the signs as they come. If you get any sense that things are not going in that favor where you have a woman that's respecting you, that she's actually down for you, that's just one of them, and you can't ignore that.
Absolutely. I mean, the whole boss babe independent woman, I have a whole career and I need to keep it for that. There's really no excuse for that because guys don't really give a damn about you having your career and making all this money because that is the job that a guy wants to take upon. The guy that wants to represent that for you, not some simp that's okay with making $12.50 at McDonald's. It's a guy that wants to take charge. It's a guy that wants to carry that woman onto the next level. But how about a guy, thinking about red flags now, how about a guy that calls you a partner, right? Saying that, well, okay, or a woman that's calling you the partner, not boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever the case is. What do you think of that word partner?
If you guys hear a woman ever saying that she is looking for a partner, that's not a good thing, guys. This is what I mean with how dumb most men are, and they don't understand the beautiful language of women. When a woman says that she's looking for a partner, what that means is she's looking for some chimpanzee, some beta male barnacle that's going to go 50-50 with her. It doesn't mean that she's looking for a man that she's going to treat like a king that she will submit to and be compliant to. You understand what I'm saying? A partner means someone that can take care of me, wash the dishes, go 50-50 with me, and I'm going to treat him like a roommate, like my best friend. Does that sound like a fucking relationship any of you guys want to be in, where a girl views you as her best friend? There's nothing sexual about that. There's no desire whatsoever. And I had a libtard, a liberal girl that I went out on a date with. I didn't know she was a feminist libtard. The first thing out of her mouth when she sat down next to me at the bar was, "What are your political views?" I said, "Why is that important?" "Oh, because I just ended a long-term friendship with one of my girlfriends because we had different political views." I'm like looking at this girl. I'm like, I'm not even answering that. I'm not fucking answering that. And she told me she's looking for a partner. It's always the independent ones, the feminists, the liberal ones that say shit like that. And that girl was a headache. I never saw her again after that. It was the girl I told you guys about in the yoga studio whose number I got and I matched with.
no shit.
The beautiful girl I told you guys about.
Yeah.
It was such a disappointment when I went out with her.
Wow.
Because I realized, damn, this girl is so beautiful, but her attitude, her personality just ruined everything. And that's why your attitude is the most attractive thing that you can ever have as a man and a woman. But the valuable lesson to that is I didn't jump through her hoops. I didn't play her game. I avoided the question because you as a man always lead the conversation. Even if they put you on the spot, I'm not obligated to answer any question I don't want to answer, especially if it's going to disqualify me. And we're going to get into some type of dumb argument because of my political fucking views. So that's another big red flag. But another one, I know SB's going to touch up on this, is say if you guys are together, you're out with the girl, and you notice that guys are giving her attention, okay? And I want SB to break this down because he's very knowledgeable with dating advice like I am. So SB, tell them why guys keep approaching this girl they're out with, or why she keeps getting attention from men even when you're out with her.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, it breaks down to this. If your woman is constantly getting that attention, it's inviting. Okay, guys, you have to understand, most guys, when they say a woman that's closed off, they're not even going to approach her in the first place, most guys. So if your woman is inviting that attention, that should say something. And to take it a step further, if she's taking that attention and not really policing it as well, right? Things like not bringing up the fact that she's in a relationship in the first place, or, you know, just going into like super friendly talk with a guy that's super random she had just met, you know, that just points to all those different signs. Okay. So at the end of the day, you might be wondering why is guys just have no problem, you know, going up and talking to my woman. You know, sometimes it could be you as well, right? That they don't necessarily see you as somebody that's, you know, going to do anything or even in the way of that. But on top of that, she's inviting that. And you have to pay attention to those signs.
The way she dresses when she goes out with her man, she putting that for sale sign on by showing her boobs out, showing how nice her ass fits in those yoga pants or whatever nice pants she's wearing. Is that something that a guy should really hammer down before they go out and be like, hey, you're not wearing that when we're together?
Yeah, I think so. I think it comes down to the respect factor, right? Is because what's going to happen when you go out looking like that? Obviously, you're going to invite that attention, right? And for a lot of women, what they don't understand in those moments is that, well, they do understand, but for the guy, that's kind of like you're adding more to the pot, right? Now you have to play this sort of guys are feeling like it's okay to come in there, and then you're in a weird position, and so you have to police that beforehand, 100%.
And what do you tell the simps out there that let it go? They just go out with their woman, they don't say anything, they have that for sale sign on, they pretty much they're wearing like, I wouldn't say lingerie because maybe that's
scandalous.
Scandalous, yeah. Lingerie maybe a little bit OD, but scandalous type of attire. What do you say to those guys? What should they do to not be that simp, that guy?
Well, listen, you got to put it like this, man. Like anything that you just let fly. Like there's so many guys out there that they just kind of let everything happen, right? No matter what it is, they're just like, okay, do this, do that. I don't care. At the end of the day, that builds up. And the more that builds up for you guys, it's just going to continue to get worse and worse and worse. Your woman should know that you have a sort of a rule book for what it's going to take to be with you, what the respect looks like, all those sorts of different things. So my advice to those guys is you need to curb that, right? You need to curb it, because if you don't, it's just going to continue to get worse for yourself.
Women will do what you let them do. And like you said, it's a great point. If you're too passive, she's going to do whatever she wants. And she's going to be put in a position. When you go out as a man, you could clearly see which women want to be approached. It's how they stand. They have their tits out. They're you know what I'm saying? And other women are clearly closed off. They don't want to be approached.
Exactly. And guys have to set that standard from the get-go, from the beginning, because if they let that go, as you said, SB, and it keeps going on and on and on, it's going to be an uncontrollable situation that you won't be able to handle down the line.
And it also, that attention brings unnecessary drama.
Yeah, 100%.
That could potentially put your life on the line, especially if some guy wants to disrespect you.
Confrontation, right there.
Confrontation.
Fights.
And no one talks about that. And another big red flag is, how big of a mouth does a woman have? Is she the type that instigates fights? Is she the one that can't control her emotions, especially when you see these videos of them out at football games or out at parties and the woman's in the guy's face screaming at him? She can't keep her mouth shut. She doesn't know how to stay quiet, act reserved. Now her man has to get involved, and she's putting him in a dangerous situation. But you want a woman that knows how to stay low-key, keep to herself. She doesn't invite any type of drama. Unless if someone wants to bring the drama, you know how to handle it.
Exactly.
But there's a difference between a girl going out classy and looking beautiful compared to a girl who's dressing scandalous.
Oh, yeah.
And I only say that because a lot of guys don't know the difference. So they start becoming controlling with the girl and telling her they don't want her wearing that or going out looking like that. And I've dated women who looked classy and beautiful going out with me. But they told me they didn't like the fact that their ex was very controlling, insecure, and jealous because he didn't want her going out and looking her best. But it had nothing to do with her looking scandalous. He was just an insecure beta male barnacle who was scared of losing this girl. He had no confidence. But there's a difference. If a girl is showing off her thigh tattoos going out with you and her ass is out, I'm going to have a problem with that. But when a girl is all about you, she will naturally respect you. She's not going to put herself out like that. The older, mature women. The younger girls, you have to put them on game. They're more programmable. They're more coachable at a young age. The older, mature women, they know they're not going to go out dressing a certain type of way because they know the consequences of what might happen. These younger girls don't know any better yet. They want that sexual attention. They want that drama. And it goes back to why you don't date these younger girls. What value can a young girl add in your life? A girl who's younger than 25. Does she know how to cook? Does she know how to prepare you breakfast? Does she know how to make you a good cup of coffee, back massage when you're tired? Does she know how to add any type of value to your life? Because a lot of the older women I date, they know how to cook. They know how to make a good cup of coffee. They know how to give me a full back massage. They know how to treat a man with respect. They know how to add value to my life. But everyone talks about younger girls, dating younger girls. They got a low body count. They got a low body. They haven't slept with all these men. These younger girls, not only are they immature, they have nothing of interest to talk about. They're not intelligent. They're not intellectual. They're damn near fucking annoying to be around. So you guys can have these younger girls all you want, brag about it. I'm happy being with a woman who's older than 25.
I think it's actually less and less now because with these women and OnlyFans and all this provocative career type of activities that they're involved in, I think the body count is higher than we think. Maybe before it was lower, but now I would say it's much higher even for those younger women. You know, there's young women that they're already saying at 19, 20, 21 that they have a body count of 40, 50, 60. So I think it's more than it used to be.
I agree. I 100% agree with you.
How about SB women that they fight with their mouth, but then they also get violent with their man, meaning domestic violence, obviously, you guys know, is running rampant and has continued to run rampant, and I'm sure will, unfortunately, in the future. But those women that act violent, you know, maybe a punch to the shoulder or a slap, even if it's a playful type of violent approach relationship between a man and a woman, what should men do in that moment a woman puts her hands on him?
Yeah. You know, it's funny. Me and Czar actually talked about this the other day, right? Is those moments, and I know you said, like, even just starting off playful, right? Doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, you continue to allow that, you're gonna reach a breaking point where shit's gonna go down, right? Cops could be called. You're gonna get blamed for it, that sort of shit. And so when you get these, I think one of the most important lessons you'll hear tonight is when you get signs, clear fucking signs of certain things, you gotta analyze it and you gotta really consider walking away from it. So to answer that question, right? Even seeing those signs of, oh, she's a little bit physical, right? This looks cute at first, but over time, when you get her angry, what's gonna happen? Physical altercation could happen. And guys, you might think, oh, you know, I'm the more macho man, like, you know, a woman's hitting me, it's no big deal. But at the end of the day, fellas, it could really go down. And I'm sure Czar has stories. I know I have stories of shit like that. It is absolutely something you want to avoid at all costs, bro.
If a woman has the gumption to put her hands on you, she has already lost all respect for you. She's probably damn near cheating on you already. If a woman has the balls to put her hands on you and physically hit you, that woman has lost so much respect for you that she is damn near already cheating on you or about to cheat on you. Because it built into her putting her hands on you. Women don't just flat out come out and start swinging at you like they're Lady Mike Tyson out of the blue, or start disrespecting you out of the blue. It starts with little things, and it builds and builds and builds. If you don't check those little things in the beginning, now it's building into her putting her hands on you and disrespecting you out in public by calling out your name, by calling you a biatch, saying all these disrespectful things to you. It's the termites that bring down the entire house. It's the little things that are left unchecked that bring down the entire foundation. And if a woman calls out your name, if she calls you a biatch, if she calls you anything negative that is not your name, that's not babe, that's not king, that's not whatever uplifting name you can come up with, you have to leave that woman. You have to leave that woman. If she calls you a biatch, that's exactly how she views you.
Yep.
That's why she's calling you that. And she's basically testing you to see how much balls you have to walk away. And if you don't walk away from that, if you don't leave her, you have no balls. And it's only going to get worse. It's going to get worse to the point where that's when she starts putting her hands on you. When you let that slide, when you let a woman call you out your name by calling you a biatch, you let that slide, this is what happens next. They start putting their hands on you. They start punching you in the face. They start hitting you physically. It goes from verbal abuse to physical abuse. There's patterns to it. It builds if you don't check that. But then you'll have some guys that say, oh, but we have children together. I can't just leave her. I don't give a fuck if you have 100 children with this woman. If any woman calls out my name or she calls me a biatch, that is the last time that woman will ever see me in her fucking life. And she can keep the children. Don't care. I'm not getting into this back and forth with her using the kids against me, all this other bullshit. Keep the kids. Do whatever you want to do, because I know I can go have children with another beautiful fucking woman who will respect me. But that's the issue with most guys, is they feel as if this is the only piece of ass they have. They won't find another girl. They have no abundance mindset, and they have no confidence, lack of confidence. So they tolerate that disrespect, and they stay with the woman.
I got to touch on that real quick. That is probably one of the biggest problems that men face, is they don't have a confidence in themselves. They don't have any sort of abundance. So what do? They stay in toxic situations because they feel like at least it's better than just being lonely. So it is so important. Guys kind of try to push off dating, and they're like, oh, I'll do this and I'll do that and I'll get back to it when I'm 40 years old, whatever the case is. But fellas, it is such a benefit for you to learn and understand and experience women to build that confidence so that you're never backed up into a corner, because you could so easily get into it with a woman and things could be going great, and then out of nowhere things hit the fan and you feel stuck. And you don't have to feel stuck.
And this is another part of red flags that guys miss, because women tell on themselves. If a girl ever tells you that she has called the cops on an ex before, you don't think she'll do the same to you guys? You think you're that fucking special where this girl isn't going to call the cops on you for whatever reason it is? Because there's always two sides to the story. I'm not taking that risk. I am not taking that risk. Just like if a woman has sold her body for money, whether it was in the past, whether she was a drug addict and she sold her body for drugs and now she's sober and she's better, I don't give a fuck. Because I can meet another beautiful woman who has never done that before. Because I have confidence and I have an abundance mindset. Because if a woman has sold her body for money, the most sacred thing she has to hold on to that God has blessed her with, you don't think she'll sell you out? You guys think you're really that fucking special where you don't think this woman is going to sell you right down the river if she was willing to sell the most sacred thing that God has given her for money? You guys are out of your fucking minds.
I want to add another red flag here that I think a lot of guys miss, and I actually see this happen way too often. Guys will be the man that the woman cheated with, right? So they'll think, okay, I've got this upper hand on this guy. You know, she came to me, she's mine now.
She monkey-branched.
She
right.
monkey-branched, right? And then they guys sit there and they think that the woman's not going to do the exact same thing to them. When in reality, what that should show you is that she what do you know about her? She's capable. When she's in a relationship, she's got eyes for other people.
100%.
Especially if it was quick. If she monkey branched and cheated on her man with you quickly, like SB said, you don't think she'll do the same to you guys? Come on. There's a saying, how you found her is exactly how she's going to leave you.
Amen.
Absolutely. I mean, what Czar and SB are saying, totally on board. Couldn't agree more. A woman loses her credibility as a girlfriend, as a dating possibility, as even a hookup possibility when she mistreats her man or the guy that she's hooking up with or whatever the case may be, verbally, physically, emotionally, however you want to put it. Any type of abuse from a woman to a man, she loses credibility. You should be rid of her, out. And going back to the physical fighting, playful, or even to the top tier violent, there's no tolerating that. Absolutely. Like even a playful punch, she's out the door and that's it. There's no looking back. You look on to the next woman who's not going to do that. And you're going to set that standard, set that rule at the beginning. Like, hey, we're going to be together. There's no physical touching, because that's where it can be, you know, it's life-changing. We're trying to save lives.
Right.
For you know, all of us here, we're trying to save lives out there. If we can save one guy out there from getting harmed to, you know, a life-changing point, then we did our jobs tonight.
As a man, your only power is walking away. What you said before is huge, and I think that's a very common scenario. Is a man will stay with a woman that's toxic, that disrespects him because he doesn't have an abundance mindset. He would rather be with her than to be single, and I think that's a very common thing nowadays. Men have to know when like the disrespect is enough, and just walk away. And she'll probably gain respect for you for doing that.
A woman's superpower is what is in between her legs. A man's superpower is the ability to walk away.
1,000%.
That is your greatest superpower, guys.
Yep.
And use it.
Yep. I think a great overarching message to just take from this whole segment is you have more power than you think you do, right? You technically don't have to put up with anything. If you set your own boundaries and you have your own rule book and you have your own way of going about dating, you have a list of like, this is what is just a flat out deal breaker for me, and you have that abundance mindset and you have that confidence, nobody could keep you where you are. you have full power to walk away at any moment. And I'm sure Zara's had to do that in certain times of his life. I know I've had to do that in certain times of my life where, yeah, it might suck for a while to have to leave somebody that you built something with emotionally, but it's just way better in the future for you. And you'll look back and be like, thank God I did that shit. Or you could continue to stay where you're at, be in that kind of shitty situation, and you're just going to pay for it at the end.
Men stay in toxic relationships by not listening to their single friends. Women leave good relationships by listening to their single friends.
Wow.
And it's a shame because I have people that are close to me that go through these toxic relationships, and it saddens me to see them not being able to walk away. Whether you have children, a family, whether you don't think you're going to find another girl. Let me tell you guys something. My peace and sanity and my health is worth more to me than staying with a woman who is toxic, who is doing nothing but adding drama to my life, who doesn't add any value whatsoever to my life, who's disrespecting me, who doesn't treat me with any type of reverence. I would rather be alone for the rest of my fucking life with a couple of cats that I'll be happy with because I love cats, rather than being with this woman. I don't even want to be around the woman who disrespects me because of how annoying they are. I don't even want to be around that person. But you have guys that tolerate this disrespect with their woman calling them a biatch to their face, where their woman calls the cops on them because they got a little loud trying to put the woman in her place. And these guys stay with these women, and it builds and builds until she's getting you arrested, until you lose your job over her because of something you didn't do, but it's her word over yours. And you guys can potentially be killed.
Yeah.
Because that's happened with many women in the past where the guy just wouldn't leave, no matter how much disrespect she had.
Yep.
And there's a lot of men in the graveyard today who never left that toxic relationship and stayed with the woman, tolerating all that disrespect. And it gets to a certain point where the woman tells herself, what do I have to do to get rid of this guy? He's not leaving me no matter how much I'm disrespecting him. Let me put some bleach in his coffee. Let me put some arsenic in his food. Let me put some fentanyl in his margarita I'm going to make him tonight. And you guys laugh and you don't think that really happens, but it really happens. And they get a hitman to take you guys out because you've been tolerating that disrespect for so long. And Will Smith is in a very similar situation where he doesn't have the balls to leave Jada no matter how much disrespect she keeps throwing at him. And it gets to a certain point, if they weren't famous and well known, she would have taken him out by now. Or she would have had someone take him out. Because when a woman loses so much respect for you, you're basically the shit stain on the bottom of a fucking shoe. That's how she views you. She has no problem flushing you down the toilet at that point. Because the way women communicate is when they disrespect you to a certain point, they're basically begging you to leave her already. And when you fail to do that, you'll have your name written on a fucking tombstone.
Yep. Yeah, and I think two great points. Number one is do not be afraid ever to be alone for a period of time. You should have comfort in your solitude. You should look at solitude as like a great improvement phase of your life, right? Like, you know what? Even if this relationship didn't work out right now, I know and I trust myself that I would go and do what I got to do and I'll be okay at the end of the day. And the second thing is when a woman is showing you that she's on the way out or that she's got a foot out the door, stop fighting that. Just let it happen. Because why do you really want to be with somebody who has a foot out the door? Do you?
Not at all.
No.
Right? So at the end of the day, you got to hold your value. You got to say to yourself, you know what? I deserve better than this. And if I'm getting a hint that she's looking elsewhere, then just let her walk away.
And here's the biggest sign of when you know a woman has already mentally checked out before she physically checks out. Here's when you know your woman no longer wants to be with you. If she's making excuses to not sleep with you, that woman already has made it up in her mind that you are so repulsive to her, she's going to have as many excuses as possible to not sleep with you. Oh, babe, I just have a headache. No, I don't feel good. Oh, it's that time of the month. Oh, babe, I'm exhausted. I had work all day. Oh, it's a full moon tonight. You know how I get during a full moon, babe. At that point, just leave her. Just fucking leave her. Because when a woman has no sexual desire for you left, there is nothing you can do at that point. And the worst thing you guys can do, and a lot of guys do this, is they'll start begging the woman and basically negotiating to sleep with her. And you're making it 10 times worse. If a woman doesn't want to rip my clothes off the second I walk through that fucking door, I want nothing to do with her. Because the last thing I'm going to be doing is begging for sex from a woman. That is the last thing I will ever do in my fucking life. Okay. And this happened with a consultation. I was talking to this guy who was in a relationship with this toxic girl, and I told him not to get in a relationship with her. He's the one that brought it up. Big mistake once again. Had no game. Didn't listen to any fucking thing I said. So he asked me, Czar, is this a red flag when a woman brings this up to you? She came over my place, and I was trying to sleep with her, and she told me that she was still sore from last week. I'm like, bro, she wasn't sore from last week. She was sore from another guy giving her that grade A, organic, free range, estrogen free, grass fed, rabbi blessed, that scrambling and scraping for shit, P. Diddy style, hot beef injection. Because we all know how quickly vaginas heal up. Even when a woman told me she was sore from last night, she's good to go. She's good to go. A couple hours later, 8 hours later, next day, she's good to go. No complaints. But if a girl tells you that, and it's been a week later, bro, you know some other guy tore her shit up. And the same guy stayed with this girl, didn't listen to my advice, like most beta males don't. And he tells me that he was laying in bed with her. It was about 2 a.m. She's at his place. She's laying in his bed. She's rolled over to the other side. And he notices her on her phone, texting at 2 a.m. He said it was another guy that she was messaging. And he asked me, Czar, what would you have done in that moment? Bro, I would have told Siri to translate, get the fuck out of my house in nearly every language that's out there so she understands fully to get the fuck out of my house. If a woman is talking to another guy in your presence and she's messaging another dude in your presence, especially at 2 a.m, are you still going to want to lay with that girl? I don't understand you guys. I'd tell her, get the fuck out. That's it. You walk the fuck away.
100%.
You have to know when to leave. You have to know when to just cut it off.
Yeah, you have to know when it's done and when it's over. And that moment that you know, you feel like you're free, right? You feel like it's life-changing right there. And that's what, big props to SB and Czar there, because guys need to realize that this is a situation that if you're in the situation right now, we are trying to save your life. Get out of it. Don't put yourself in that situation if you saw the signs, if you see the red flags. It's very important for men to realize that and to move forward. If you want to move forward, you want a bright future, that's one thing to cut out of your life, that negativity and those red flags. And again, women are a book of red flags. I mean, there's much more, but we're going to leave some of those red flags for the next episode. Let's get into the next topic, which is
so why don't we get into how men can improve? How can men take accountability? What can men do? Like when you guys coach men, obviously there's got to be some common themes like lack of confidence, lack of social skills. Maybe they have some false beliefs. What do you think are like some go-to things that men can do to improve?
Yeah, that's a great question. So first things first, and you mentioned it, the first word you said was accountability. It cannot be the woman's fault. It cannot be that you're 5'6" and you're Asian. It can't be that when you were 15 years old, this happened to you. It can't be that. You have to take full accountability for where you're at. Once you take that very important step and you take accountability, then you realize that you are a part of the problem, and now you could actually grow from it. So with that being the case, right, most guys just aren't going out and applying themselves or meeting enough women in the first place. So usually when I work with a guy, that's typically the case. Okay, so they might have things holding them back, like that lack of confidence or those limiting beliefs. They don't even want to get into a conversation with women in the first place. But once you tackle those things up top and you actually start to change the way you view yourself based off the action you put in place, you know, these women that you used to avoid, you're actually going and talking to them now. It might not be at a level where it's like, oh, I'm bringing her home and taking her number, but hey, could you actually take that first step?
100%.
Right?
It's a numbers game. And I would say that even all of us in our best moments may fail, but if you keep trying, you would suggest those men to go out and if it doesn't work with one woman, continue with another and another until you strike gold, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but on top of that, you see there's a concept that's very important, right? It's called internal validation. Mm-hmm. So too many men, what they do is they go out and a woman will like them today and they'll feel great, and then a woman won't like them tomorrow and they'll feel like shit. You basically launch your confidence into inconsistency. Women are inconsistent in dating. You're gonna have ups and downs, but you can't attach your entire confidence to the results and the immediate attention you get from women. But what you can control is, hey, every single time that I see a woman I want, I go up and talk to her. That's what you can control, right? Mm-hmm. Every time I'm in a conversation, I make sure that, you know, I'm bringing my best self to the table. I'm focusing on my energy. I'm not coming across nervous. I'm not doing any of those things. I'm being myself. That's what you can control.
Mindset.
Mm-hmm. And that's where you start to build your internal validation. That's when you start to view yourself differently, because you're like, you know what? I'm that guy that, you know, beforehand I was avoiding these women. Now I'm that guy. At bare minimum, I go up and talk to the women I want. Once you start seeing that action, you build that proof, that starts to come into the change that you need for yourself.
I don't need external validation from a woman or from anyone to make myself feel good. Mm-hmm. And that's what SB is talking about. And I love how he said, when you take accountability as a man, you grow as a man. You start to mature as a man. The men that never take any accountability, they want to blame for the woman for this. She did this to me. She cheated on me. I can't believe she used me. I gave her the world. All this other shit. They keep blaming other people. Victim mindset. You need to have a victor mindset where you take accountability of why that girl cheated on you. It was your fault. Whether you acted like a beta male, whether you were turning into a chimpanzee, whether you gave away your leadership abilities, you stopped working out, you became a fat slob, you take accountability. If you were in a toxic relationship, you take accountability for allowing that woman to be a part of your life because you missed those red flags that she was conveying to you. And the reason why I never ended up in a second toxic relationship, and I only had one when I was 25, I didn't have any type of confidence at that time because of what I was going through. The reason why I never ended up in another toxic relationship was because I took accountability for the first one.
Yep.
I didn't blame her for shit. For her putting her hands on me, for disrespecting me, for cheating on me. Oh, she was such a this, she was such a that. I didn't do any of that. I looked in the fucking mirror and I said, Czar, you know yourself better than that. You know women better than that. Make sure this never happens to you again.
Yep.
And I remembered every single red flag. I remembered what happened. I remembered the kind of person I was where I didn't have any confidence. I was still enhancing my game, especially with relationships. And that never fucking happened again. If I was busy blaming the woman like most of you guys do, you're going to keep getting the same fucking results. The reason why I see so many men ending up with the same types of women like the last ones is because they blame the woman for everything.
Yep.
That's why they keep ending up in these same shitty fucking situations, attracting the same types of women. Because rather than taking accountability, looking in the mirror and saying, I'm a fat slob who needs to work out, I need to gain some confidence. I need to have the ability to walk away. I need to learn the game and improve myself. It's so much easier for them to blame someone else, have a victim mindset, and then they end up exactly where they were not long ago.
Yep. And you got to ask yourself this question like that. What he just said, that could be fucking painful to you. Like, oh, I have to look in the mirror and face myself. Bro, if you want to be the type of man that gets the women he wants, you have to take accountability for everything, right? Even as far as what Czar said, I was cheated on, right? You could easily fall into a victim mindset, but hold on, bro. What did you see any signs going into that? Did you allow disrespect to happen over time? Did she just get to a point where she looked at you and she's like, yeah, this guy is just not what I want anymore. It's not even the guy that I got into a relationship with in the first place. You have to take full accountability. And the most beautiful thing about that is that you can grow from that shit every single time. We wouldn't be here today if we didn't take accountability and didn't go through some shit that we had to face in the mirror.
Yeah, guys think we've never been through a heartbreak. They think we've never been cheated on. They think we've never been disrespected or rejected. You guys can't even fathom the shit that we've been through with women. There's just certain things we can't share live on the air. But I promise you, everything you guys are going through or have been through, we have also been through that. But the difference is we grew from those situations because we took accountability. We didn't blame anyone else but ourselves. And what do I always tell you guys? The accountability always falls on the man. It will always fall on the man. Whether you think she was a bad person, she cheated on you, could be. There's a lot of bad people out there, I understand. But the fact that you still allowed her to be a part of your life, that's your fault as a man.
And even on top of that, no one is really going to care either, unfortunately. It's just a sad reality. Like, no one is actually going to care in those moments that you went through this, you went through that. Like, you have to, it's such a powerful moment, but you could take that pain and turn that shit into power every single time. Every single time. And that's the only reason you could either choose to give up or you could choose to turn it into becoming the man you want to be. And I promise you, the next time you go through some sort of heartbreak or some toxic situation or whatever, you take that route, shit, you could be sitting right next to us. Who knows?
That's it. And let's make it a point that counting on a woman to take accountability, that's their kryptonite. So don't count on a woman to take accountability, right? If you want to win, don't look at what happened to you or what's been going on to you as a loss that you've been losing. What I like to always say is either you win or you learn. And the lessons that you get from what occurred, and you take that and evolve from that into a bigger and better man, human being, within relationships with women, how you deal with them. That's how you're going to move forward. That's how you're going to push for a bigger and better, bright future with women.
You have a better chance of seeing Jesus Christ than holding a woman accountable or seeing a woman take accountability.
How dare you?
100%. 100%. Women, even when they're at fault for something, when it's blatantly obvious that they've done something wrong, could be with regards to dealing with a man or something within their own life, they don't take accountability. It's never their fault. So how will you men get better? By you taking accountability from the get-go once something happens, and then figuring out how to fix it and how to move forward to do it better the next time.
So the first thing I would do with self-improvement, workout. We all know best thing a man can ever do is start working out. If you haven't started, start fucking tonight, start today. Don't waste any fucking time.
Start yesterday.
Start yesterday. The second best thing a man can do to improve is to stop fornicating. Stop watching porn. Stop watching porn and stop fornicating. And I have a book coming out soon called From Porn to Power to help men with porn addictions, because I've been there before, and to talk to you about the dark side of porn that no one teaches you or tells you about. The third thing, stop following all these naked women on social media. Stop it. You guys are the cause of why women are acting the way they are today. You won't find one woman that I follow on social media that posts provocative pictures. You will not find one woman, because I have self-discipline and I don't want to see a bunch of naked women on my feed on social media, because I'm not thirsty and I don't give out free validation or free attention like most of you guys do. So you guys have to start putting a value, a price on your attention.
Yep.
That's another step that you guys have to take for self-improvement. Your attention has to have fucking value to it. If you give it away to every woman just because she's beautiful, you're never going to have success with women, because you already have no self-discipline. And if everyone is your customer, no one is your customer. So you need to figure out what type of woman you want in your life. Make a list of all the qualities, features that you want, and you will become a beacon for those types of women.